We're looking at the health segment now, and today on the health segment, we're going to be looking at diabetes and your eyesight. All right, so blindness and diabetes, and how does diabetes cause blindness? Now, there's a condition called diabetic retinopathy, and we're going to be looking at that and how that comes about. Okay, now our eyesight are basically responsible for about 80% of sensory impressions that we get. Okay, so if you think about it, of all your senses, the 5 senses that we have, your eyes are the most important. You can't afford to joke with them. I've been joined this morning by Dr. Augustine Derry. He is an optometrist with Third Eye Care and Vision Center, and he's going to help us to get into the nitty-gritties of this conversation. Dr. Derry, morning.
Hello.
How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine.
It's good to have you here.
Yes, nice to see you.
Yes. And now, let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Diabetes is linked with blindness.
Yeah.
Tell us how so.
Okay, so this comes as a surprise to many people when you talk about diabetes and sight. But one thing that we need to know is that, diabetes affects like every part of your body. One of the ways that diabetes can affect your sight is that the blood vessels that go through your body, they get into your eye as well. Your eye needs food, your eye needs oxygen and all of that. Diabetes does affect those blood vessels. So there's a way that diabetes, enters the eye and then changes in many other things. So this can cause, yes, visual impairment and ultimately blindness if you're not taking very good care of the managing the diabetes. Yes.
Wow. All right. So if we just explain to us, so for example, so we know that diabetes is sugar that's in the bloodstream. It hasn't moved into the cells where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's stuck in the bloodstream, right?
Yeah.
How would this result?
Okay. So when we talk of diabetes and sight, we usually refer to we make it a collective. We call it diabetic eye disease. So diabetes can have manifestation in several forms in the eye. People who usually have diabetes, whether they know or they don't, some can present with a bit of blurred vision, some can have a bit of hazy vision, others would have loss of contrast, there's color saturation, stuff like that. They are not very, colors are not as bright as before, and ultimately leading to loss of vision. So one thing, first, the excess sugar that is in the blood, when it gets to the lens of the eye, there's a lens in your eye, first of all, just like you have in a camera. So the lens will metabolize sugar for energy to do its work. The lens is clear. When there's too much of sugar that goes into the blood, what happens is that this lens will start to become cloudy because it will start to absorb water from the surrounding. So that was the lens
we were looking at earlier.
So good. So here there's cataract that is being shown. So the lens in the eye can become cataractous, like we see, because it absorbs a lot of, so that white thing.
That's the lens. That's the one that can become cloudy.
Yes, that's the one that can become cloudy as a result of one poorly controlled sugar in the body. So that's one of the complications of diabetes in the eye. We call it cataract. So if this becomes cloudy and becomes worse, it can blind the vision.
I see.
Luckily, this is reversible. We can do a surgery to reverse that as well. So that's for one. Now, when we go deeper inside, which is even more concerning for me, at the back of the eye that we call the retina. If you remember, retina is where light falls onto the eye. There are light-sensitive cells there.
Rods and cones.
Yes, the rods and the cones.
Biology is one of my favorite subjects, man.
Yes, the rods and the cones would pick the light and help, you see well. Now, at the same retinal level, there are blood vessels that move around. Now, when the sugar in the blood or the sugar in the body is poorly controlled due to either type 1, type 2, gestational diabetes, whichever one it is, the cells, there are certain cells that hold the blood vessel wall very well. They are called pericytes. You can call it like the mortar that holds the blood vessels. So the blood vessels you can liken to maybe PVC pipes or straw in the eye. Now, when the sugar is too much, it begins to damage these pericytes.
Oh.
So the walls of the blood vessels start getting weak.
Okay.
So the complication at the back can start like swelling at certain portions of the blood vessels at the retina.
I see.
So as this swells, at a point in time, it will start to leak. And when it leaks, it's leaking fluid onto the retina.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
And this swelling, this leaking, you know, the sugar is a lot. It obstructs very good blood flow through the eye. And as it obstructs, your retina begins to, let me use the term, suffocate.
Oh, I
because
see.
it's not getting enough blood, it's not getting enough oxygen.
Okay.
So what I'm describing right now is what we call the retinopathy.
Okay.
So the disease of the retina.
So that's what you're seeing there on
Yes,
the screen.
the diabetic retinopathy. So the normal eye is there and on one side, and then we have the retinopathy on the other side.
Okay.
So this is where there's a leakage going on. And then when these leakages occur from the blood vessels and the retina starts to lack oxygen, something else happens.
Okay. What's that?
Because there's a leakage and the retina is suffocating, signals are sent such that new blood vessels are called to be produced.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so these are what we call the vascular endothelial growth factors.
Okay.
We don't really need all that right now. But then we don't have enough blood vessels to oxygenate the retina, so new blood vessels will start being formed. And remember, this is an emergency situation, so they'll be formed quickly.
Okay.
So when they are growing, these new blood vessels are growing, unfortunately, they are not strong enough, and they can leak even easier.
Okay.
So this causes so much problem. Sometimes you can actually see blood leakage at the back.
Wow.
Yeah, the real blood leakage at the retina.
Okay.
By this time, your vision is being impaired. And then again, these blood vessels, some will die off, some will begin to pull the retina. And this one is more scary because the new blood vessels are formed, small, weak. When they begin to tug on the retina, it can cause the retina to detach from the back of the eye.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the
That's
retina.
serious.
That's serious. And actually, that's an emergency. So if you have a retina detachment, you may not feel pain. The only thing you will see is that your vision changes all of a sudden. Some people will say it looks like there is a curtain, something like a curtain covering my eye. So they want to, cover it. At the early stages, even before the detachment, David, I know when you look into the sky or at a white background, sometimes you see some small, tiny things like flies.
Yes.
We call them floaters.
Okay.
Mostly they are normal, and then they'll be there for a while, they'll recede.
Then you just ignore. Yeah.
But in diabetes, when the leakages start, some of these leakages will migrate a bit, and then you begin to see these tiny dots in your vision called floaters. So if you see floaters, well, that may be okay. But if they start to increase, you should be seeing your optometrist or ophthalmologist. Let's check it out. So when these things grow and then it now tugs on it and tears the retina, it's an emergency. You will require immediate surgery or you are losing your sight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. How does one prevent themselves from, at which point do you know that, listen, I need to go get checked ASAP before anything disastrous happens?
Okay, so most times when diabetes is, let me say, doing your eye, you are not aware. Some of the changes are insignificant. If you don't have color, I mean, those loss of sight and all of that, because there are two eyes, you hardly notice.
Okay.
But when it begins to grow, fluctuations in the lens, your vision, you start to change your glasses a little earlier than normal, or you start to see things blurry. It's not, objects are distorted, shapes are a bit distorted. Then you think that you have to do this. But so what I advise for people, especially those with diabetes, please have what we call a dilated fundus exam at least every year.
Okay.
When you come to the office, what your eye doctor will do is we'll put some drops in your eyes to open the eyes, the pupil, very well, so that we can do a more detailed exam for you to check and see if those microaneurysms, you know, the swelling of
Swellings in
the,
the arteries,
yes,
yeah.
yes, you are very good student.
Yeah.
Those microaneurysms are present, whether new blood vessels are being formed, whether there is what we call edema or swelling at a certain point in your retina. We'll check all that. So you are not going to be able to notice it at the early stage yourself, most likely.
I see.
So coming to the office is better. But if you do have diabetes, if you live long enough, there's a very high chance that you get it. So what you can do is that, one, you can make sure that you take your medication as prescribed by your doctor.
Okay.
Take it regularly.
Okay.
And then you make sure that your weight, you manage your weight. You have to reach, they'll give you a weight target. Reach it, maintain it.
Okay.
Add some physical exercise. And then, very importantly, control what we call your ABCs.
Okay, what's that?
The sugar. We have what we call the HbA1c blood sugar. That's different from the fasting blood sugar. Look at that a bit carefully. Make sure that you also control your blood pressure, because it also affects it. And then control your cholesterol as well.
Wow.
Yeah, these three basics are very, very important. The ABC, HbA1c, blood sugar levels, your blood sugar levels, your blood pressure, make sure you monitor it well. And then your cholesterol levels. Make sure you do this, because these can impact the way diabetes affects your eyes. And if you smoke, you should probably consider quitting. You should quit smoking. Because apart from this, the cataract that I'm talking about, you can also have glaucoma from the same diabetes. So diabetes can cause several complications in the eye. So you should be really, really careful of that.
Fantastic. Well, we appreciate this detailed breakdown for us. How do people get in touch with you if they find that some of the things you're describing, you're experiencing them and so on? Where did they get in touch with you? How can they come to you?
Okay, there are several ways. But just before I end, let me say this very quickly. If you do have these things, it does not necessarily mean you are going blind.
Okay.
We can do something about it. There are several options. We could, let me say it just as it is. You could, depending on the stage, have an injection in your eye to help you. We could
Is it painful?
We'll numb your eyes first. And then
I feel squeamish already.
I know, that's what I want to quickly run.
About it.
Yes, you have an injection. It's a quick procedure. Or you could also have what we call a laser treatment, laser photocoagulation. We could also there could be a surgery done at the back of the eye. That's if the leakage enters and makes things very bad. So that can be done. But all this can be prevented if you come in early and we keep checking your eyes, because you have diabetes. Come in early. So yeah, if you want to have more information, on social media, I'm on Facebook, Augustine Derry. I'm on Instagram, August Derry, August Derry. On Twitter, August Derry. I work at Third Eye Care and Vision Center. So probably you might want to walk in so you can.
Where's Third Eye Care and Vision Center located?
We are at two places. We are at the airport residential area, close to Association International School. Right, somewhere opposite the Mirage Apartments. It's easy to locate. Then we are also at North Ridge, close to, actually in the same building with Sunny FM. Yeah, same building with Sunny FM. You can decide to even call on 054 328 7008. I'll say it again, 054 328 7008.
Super.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you
for helping us. Yeah, I mean, the most important thing, I think, is to just make sure that you don't get diabetes. If you don't have it, try not to get it. It saves you a whole lot of trouble. That has been Dr. Augustine Derry. He is with the Third Eye Care and Vision Center. He's an optometrist there with them.